Such a good job. How about a nice hand for them? They do a great brunch here, I'm told, also, so you should come here on the weekends. Shh. This is the meat and potatoes part of the program. It's the most important part of what we do. So before we bring up Neil and his accomplishments and talk about why he's involved in Lending Hearts and other charities that he has been involved with, we have a special family here tonight. It's the Gray family, and every year we try to bring, and Vassal does a great job of bringing up families who've gone through firsthand what it's like to have somebody in their family diagnosed with cancer. So in this case, it was 3-year-old Bryson. So can you imagine a family situation like that? When you're 3 years old, your parents have no idea what's going to happen, questions abound about everything. What are we going to do next? Who's going to watch our other children? What's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with that? Man, it's a tough, stressful situation. But we're also happy to say that we have great care around here in Pittsburgh. Very fortunate to have so many great institutions that do these great things. And so Bryson, who was 3 at the time, faced 3.5 years worth of treatment. And that's tough on a young kid at 3 years old. But we're also happy to know that he is just months away from ringing the bell, and he will. He's a great young kid. You're going to meet him here, and the entire Gray family, because it was interesting how they met Lending Hearts in Vaso, and it was while at the hospital. As you heard, there's a lunch that comes in every Friday that Lending Hearts provides for all cancer patients and their families. And Brianna saw it and said, wow, this is interesting. We're getting a nice lunch here. Looked at the box. It said Lending Hearts. And then they met, and the rest is history. And Lending Hearts has been lending their heart to help the Gray family. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome now 6-year-old Bryson Gray and his entire family. They're going to tell you their story.
We're a little shy tonight, I think, which is a first. Ask his nurses back there.
Mommy, what's me up? I want to say something.
You want to say something?
Hello!
Okay. I'm incredibly nervous. Good evening. I am Bryson's mom, and I'm incredibly nervous. I'm very grateful to be here tonight, but also very incredibly nervous. Before I begin to share our family story, I wanted to start by reading a few quotes that I feel are important to why we are here tonight. The first quote: "No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another." Charles Dickens. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King Jr. When we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. Maya Angelou. No one has ever become poor by giving. Anne Frank. Those are some pretty important people, I think, that remind us how important organizations like Lending Hearts is. Our son Bryson was diagnosed with leukemia at 3 years old, June 14th, 2022. I promise we will remember that day forever. I took him to the ER because I thought he was breathing a little funny. They did some x-rays. They found a mass in his chest surrounding his airway by 95%. He was rushed to the ICU and evaluated for maybe needing a breathing tube. They said he was breathing through a coffee straw. Later that day, they came in and told us, your child likely has T-cell leukemia. He needs to start steroids and chemotherapy right away. Okay. The treatment for his type of leukemia is 3.5 years long. It includes oral chemo medications, IV medications, muscle injections, 42 to be exact, but who was counting? Injections into his spinal column, bone marrow biopsies, IVs, PICC lines, and an implanted port. And he was lucky enough to have 2. Multiple trips to the ER for fever evaluations and blood cultures, and all the side effects that go along with the medications that he takes. Honestly, we are actually one of the lucky families. Our complications have been few and all treatable. We have only spent 2 nights in the hospital since we were initially diagnosed in June. And we will be ringing the bell this October when he's almost 7 years old. Hold on. He wanted to say thank you for clapping. When you first hear the words, "Your child has cancer," everything pauses. All sounds become silent. Light fades as though your eyes are shut, but I can assure you they are open. Then a flood of every single emotion a person is capable to feel rushes in all at once. You have at least 20 questions that no one can answer. Yet, feelings of worry, grief, fear, overwhelming helplessness crowd out all the hope and positivity. There is also an indescribable stress that takes over. Is our child going to be okay? Is he going to die? How are we going to do this? How can we make this work? What is going to happen? What about our other son? How do we keep our family together? How do we keep our child alive, healthy, safe? Will we be able to see our family? Will we be able to hang out with our friends? Are we able to keep working? It would be so easy to just let these feelings take over, and for a short time we did allow that to happen. But then we decided to consciously choose to always find something positive each day of our journey. We are thankful, and we also give ourselves grace. We choose to actively look for support and find help. We felt Bryson would get the medical care he needed. We're very lucky to be in the area that we live in. But what about the emotional support, the social support, and what about the support for our family? Without a support system, it is difficult to remain hopeful. How do you manage jobs, other children, home, financial burdens, long appointments, driving back and forth to the hospital sometimes daily for 10 to 12-hour long appointments? We learned you must lean on other people. You need to take their help. Yeah. Perhaps one of the most difficult tasks is actually accepting help. Say yes to help. I can tell you it is hard to do, but it is how you will survive. During our initial diagnosis and treatment, we stayed for 30 days at UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. Big brother Connor wasn't allowed to visit due to restrictions that continued to be in place from COVID. So our hearts broke twice. Once for our son Bryson with his new challenges, and the second time for our 4-year-old who couldn't see his parents. We were really struggling with guilt and grief. Sorry, I tried really hard not to do this. During one of those weeks we were there, it was a Friday, and a lunch was delivered to our room from someone from Lending Hearts. We began to learn more about the amazing organization. We signed up for Vasso's emails and never looked back since. We found hope, encouragement, resilience, and true fun. We found people who understood and knew how to help. We found someone who knew that siblings needed to feel included too. It's happy tears. No one understands more than others who have or are going through this situation that you are. We've made lifelong friends and are very grateful to Vaso and Lending Hearts for reminding us that others can lift you up and soften your fall. They can also bring joy and help you celebrate the hope. This is exactly what Lending Hearts does for children and their entire families. Lending Hearts to us is synonymous with grace, kindness, acceptance, togetherness, support, love, and fun. We feel very blessed to be here tonight to help showcase what this organization means to families like ours. The community, togetherness, and support Lending Hearts provides is invaluable. In fact, we were inspired to help and give back as well. For the last 3 years, we have held a charity golf scramble and basket raffle in honor of Bryson and his love for snacks. Children's Hospital has snack carts on their oncology units to offer to kids for long treatments, rough procedures, scary things, or milestones that need to be celebrated. Also, if you don't know, most children fighting cancer are on steroids. And one thing I know as a mother of a child fighting cancer is kids on steroids love snacks. Our golf scramble is called Swing Away for Bryson Gray, and our motto is Get Those Snacks. Everything raised is donated to Children's Hospital Foundation and is given to the fund set up for the snack carts. To date, we've raised over $50,000 to be given back to the snacks. Mr. Shipley, if you have a foursome that you want to join in with, we'd be glad to make some room for you. I'm sure my husband would like to have you on his team as well. Sorry, I had to take the opportunity. Tonight we come together to celebrate Lending Hearts and all those who encompass the Lending Hearts spirit, which are all of those in the room tonight. They wouldn't be able to provide what they do if it wasn't for many of you in this room. I am here to represent so many other children and families touched by cancer by saying we are truly grateful. Thank you so much for having us with you this evening, and we appreciate letting us come speak with you. Do you want to say something?
Thank you, everybody.